this week, was it? She was talking about how having children was not how she envisioned it. Is that the idea that she's giving a little glimpse into Montecito?
Yeah, I think so the comment about the children where she was saying, like, she thought before she had Archie that she was going to, like, have him on her hip while she was giving speeches as a royal, so she would be, like, you know, going to a royal event and Archie would be with her, which obviously never happened. So that was what she was saying. She, you know, the life of parenting was not what she envisaged.
But she only had to look at other royal mothers to know that
it's not possible.
It's a no-go, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just not
How
possible.
lovely it would be, but it's a no-go. You can't.
Yeah.
Have the kid on your hip and be giving speeches in the royal world. You can't in any world, really.
Harry has he has stronger opinions on privacy and security than perhaps Meghan does. I was told a couple of years ago that there was a bit of this, you know, debate between, as you pointed out there, between Harry and Meghan about how much they would want their children to be seen in the public, whereas Meghan wants to, you know, live like a billionaire. She wants to have a celebrity lifestyle in California, whereas Harry wants to be a little bit more private.
I cannot get away from the feeling that maybe Harry and Meghan feel differently about whether or not to show the children, and that's what's behind this kind of, you know, compromised position where Meghan probably would rather just put pictures of their faces on Instagram and not worry too much about it.
Where do we think we are 7 years down the line? This representation of their 7 years happy life and everything we see on Instagram, do we get the idea that the life is good out there for the Sussexes?
Well, you go first.
OK, I'll go first. I think that life in Montecito is pretty good. It's a very beautiful place. You have a very beautiful life. It's not probably terribly real, but it suits them, and I think they are probably very happy. Harry is devoted to the children, and, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, what does he do all the time? But if you've got a lot of legal cases running, as you know, Matt, because you work for a newspaper, so you know about legalities of things. It's not very peaceful, and it's incredibly time-consuming, and, you know, and very upsetting. You could be on the phone to lawyers all morning, and Harry still has a lot of legal cases running. So I think that is defining his life wrongly at the moment. But I think his marriage is very happy.
I would agree on the marriage point. I think, you know, they will have had their bumps because every marriage does. Like, it's not, you know, there isn't a marriage out there where you never have arguments, you never have dips or low points. Absolutely all marriages do, and they will have themselves. And they've had some incredibly pressured moments, you know, like how did Meghan feel when Harry put the frostbite story in his book and all of a sudden they were being ridiculed in America? Like, it must have put a huge amount of strain and pressure on the relationship.
Well, what about the time he described how he lost his virginity in a field?
In a field, but then also, like, how did Harry feel when Meghan did the fake curtsy on the Netflix show? You know, like, he might well have felt quite upset about her doing that. So I'm sure that they have had their moments, but at the core of it, I think they know that they are, you know, they are nothing without each other in reality. They need each other, and they have a great, objectively on paper, a fantastic life out there in a beautiful part of the world. 2 beautiful children, you know, hobnobbing with all of these big power players from the world of Hollywood. But some people, you know, they take their problems with them, and I think that's where Harry is right now. And Harry has not built as much in America as Meghan has.
And also when he gave that interview, sorry to bang on Matt, but to the BBC, he looked really.
He looked so angry.
He looked so. Harry is very emotional and gets very, very, very angry, and
he's a hothead.
He's very intense. He's got the Spencer temper.
Yeah.
And they all have it. They all have it.
But this is the thing, is that, you know, I was thinking to myself, like, why has he done this with the BBC interview? And I couldn't get away from the fact that Meghan didn't do this and doesn't do this kind of stuff because Meghan has built this whole thing in America with her lifestyle brand and her new Netflix show and her podcast. And because she's built this new thing, she doesn't want to wreck it and she doesn't want to ruin it. So she's got something she's fighting for.
From the very beginning, Meghan Markle's idea of parenting was bound to clash with the royal expectations, and perhaps even with Prince Harry himself. Two people from vastly different worlds, with opposing values and upbringings, suddenly trying to build a family under the harsh glare of global scrutiny. But as time has passed, the cracks are showing, and insiders reveal that when it comes to raising Archie and Lilibet, Harry's approach is far more strict, traditional, and surprisingly, royal. Meghan grew up in Hollywood, a world of freedom, self-expression, and modern parenting ideals. Her philosophy has always leaned toward emotional openness, creative independence, and letting her children find their own truth. Harry, however, was molded by centuries of royal discipline, the idea that duty comes before comfort, and structure comes before feelings. It's no wonder their two worlds collided when it came time to set rules, routines, and boundaries. Sources close to the couple suggest that arguments have quietly brewed behind the scenes. Meghan prefers a relaxed, media-aware upbringing, one where the children can live openly, even online. Harry, on the other hand, fears the same exposure that destroyed his own childhood privacy to him. The internet, social media, and public appearances are traps, and he's determined to shield Archie and Lilibet from it all. And here's where things get tense. Meghan's influence often leans toward brand building and visibility, something she's mastered. Harry, however, has grown increasingly uncomfortable with using their children in any way that feels commercial. He's drawn a line, and it's one Meghan hasn't always agreed with. In many ways, Harry has become more like his father, King Charles, structured, serious, and determined to maintain a sense of order. Meghan, meanwhile, follows her own rulebook, progressive, modern, and unfiltered. The problem? Parenting only works when both parents play the same game, and as friends note, Meghan's idea of parenting was a no-go from the start. Harry's always been the more hard-lined one. So, what happens next? If Harry and Meghan continue down these opposing paths, their parenting styles could shape their children in completely different ways. Will they grow up royal or rebellious, structured or self-driven? Only time will tell. But one thing's clear in this household: there's no such thing as ordinary parenting. Meghan's vision was modern, expressive, and free. Harry's is traditional, protective, and rooted in legacy. And as their lives unfold, so too will the question whose parenting style will truly define the next generation of Sussex children.
Harry's not built anything out in America. He's got nothing to fight for. He's got nothing to force him to restrain himself when he gets angry. And so I just cannot get away from the fact that the solution to most of Harry's problems actually is just to build something fantastic in America that people can get excited about and stop, and then he will be able to let go of the past. But I think
I think you should be his new advisor.
Well, he doesn't listen to his advisors. So.
We give Harry and Meghan advice every week on this show. I can confirm that I don't think they listen to or take away any of the advice. But we become body language experts in many ways, don't we? We become or looking at pictures or reading things into how we see the couple acting and the consequences of their actions. You discussed. I say the BBC interview was cataclysmic for their strategy.
Yeah.
Because there was an opportunity there for the reconciliation.
A 2-year strategy blown up in one interview.
It was absolutely dreadful idea. But going back to the mood board, going back to how their kind of life is there, are we agreeing there's kind of no 7-year itch then? I mean, things are moving on quite well as far as we're aware. I did a story this week saying that Harry would never leave Meghan, but obviously they've gone through, they've had between them there's been a lot of sacrifices.
I think that they are dependent on each other, though.
Yeah,
totally. Well, that's what you said, Jack.
Yeah, I agree.
So we are in total agreement. They are very dependent on each other.
There was this story that Meghan, had her people approach someone about a divorce book. But imagine if Meghan left Harry, it would destroy her reputation. She would be eviscerated publicly because she's already slipped into this kind of category on social media. The way that pop culture commentators talk about her, they lump her in with Amber Heard. They lump her in with, these other famous women who are perceived as being narcissistic or, being controlling of their husbands. Alec Baldwin's wife got this treatment the other day. Blake Lively as well. So if she walked out on Harry, she would never reputationally survive it. But then Harry, without Meghan, what's his life in America going to be like?
Well, he wouldn't leave the children, you see. And in America, the rules about children, they're always with the mother, nearly always. So I mean, so it's not going to happen. So do you remember where 5 years? Everyone, when they got married, a lot of members actually of the royal family even said it won't last 5 years, but it has.
It has.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
lasted 7.
Yeah,
through a lot of crises, through a lot of
huge pressure.
You talk about some strategic errors. I mean, that would be a major strategic error on Meghan's behalf, basically, if we looked at it strategically.
Yeah, and obviously you can't just look at your marriage strategically because, you live it daily. But strategically, it would be a catastrophic mistake.
Interesting.
And I think, I think she does need Harry, I think she does. And she must know by now that she doesn't get everything right.
Yeah, so we're behaviour experts, we're marriage experts.
But without Harry,
we're allowed to.
she is nothing.
She's nothing. And without her, Harry's life in America is nothing.
well, yes,
He
exactly.
has a reputation to fall back
So they
on.
have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they need each other.
Yeah.
Now, one thing Meghan does do without Harry is her podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm open that I rarely listen to it. I know we spoke the other day, Jack. I said, have you been listening to the podcast? And me and you were kind of, we listen to it on high speed, or that, we do pay attention to it, but we're probably not the target audience. It's the penultimate episode has just occurred this week. Is it succeeding? Are enough people watching it? Is it working for Meghan?
So one big question here is, what did she expect it to be? Does she need it to be top 10? It's not top 10. It has, the first episode or two when we were all writing loads of news lines off the back of it, that got into the top 10. It very quickly dropped out again. It's now not even in the top 200 on Apple. It is in the top 100 business podcasts somewhere in the 60s. So it's not hugely well listened to.
But the publicity around it is amazing.